Hi everyone, this is a quick video about AKAI Miniak. I got this back in 2010, 2011 I think it was. Having my midlife crisis and I wanted to go back to the old style synths, and this virtual analog synthesizer has a really good engine. I think Brett Victor, one of the inventors, actually ended up working for my company in America at one point, completely unrelated to what it was doing. But over time, like all these synths, these buttons don't work too bad. You might be able to see there that this little light here comes on to show that it's doing something. But one of the things that's very sticky, one of the things people complain about is the lack of editing. And they go through this menu dive and all the rest of it. You know, they go into the menu, if I can do it. You see it's not behaving here. So they go into the menu, they deep dive. Now that's choosing it. We go in, come on. No, that's not it. So normally it should allow me to edit, and it's not doing it at the minute. Oh, there we are. It's in the oscillator, and then you can go through, and this little knob here, plus these three little XYZs, controls just about all of the pitches, and sorry, all of the functions. And there are I think there's, I don't know, not quite 256, but there's a lot of different nerpins as they put them in this thing. It's a very powerful engine, but some people say it's a pain in a whatever. So here I'm on the track. You won't be able to see that because this display is legendary rubbish here, and this is the closest I can get you to the camera with this view. But if you hold down the program button and click one of these little buttons that says filter, this should say post mix, and it takes me here. Output, ENV, LFO, which is currently on the SH. If I click on the pre-mix, it will take me to the mixers. Oscillator, it will take me to the oscillators. Voice will take me to voice parameters. So this shortcut's really good. And back in the day, I was quite active on the Miniak Ion Micron website, the Yahoo group, and I posted a lot of tools. Miniak tools is one, but this is just all covered in crap and beer and whatever, so it needs to be coming apart. Clean this out with some contact cleaner. Don't use WD-40. So that's what I plan to do. I got another one up the top there. I went to Germany for 6 months with the company, and I missed this one so much I bought another one. So at one point I can probably sell that if someone wants one, yeah. But the sounding in this is really good, and if you put an external keyboard on, it can even respond to poly aftertouch, and the keyboard behind me, the Gem S2 rather, can do that. So I'm going to whip it all apart, give it a good clean, and I'll be back when I get to the interesting bits. Thank you for watching so far. Okay, so the first thing, you want some sort of tray to put all your bits in, and these little things come off. You can lose the end bits off these if you're not careful, so be careful because these little caps can come off. I think these are the same. Just check that. Yeah, actually that's a bit loose. Well, you can work it out when you put them back. Yeah, that one's tight, tight, tight. Okay, so the volume one is slightly different. So when you come to put them back, just find the one that is not so loose there. And this one, of course, has got the pot. These are endless encoders. They break quite often. The only thing that goes wrong inside them is some problem with the FETs or whatever they're called. Touchwood, I haven't had that problem yet, but it is 11, 12 years old, yeah. I also inverted this thing because I don't know why. I thought it would see better. And somewhere, here we go. Back in the day, you used to put a little prism on top of it, and then back here you could see the thing better, yeah. But I see someone's made a fantastic mod where they turn this into a rack mount, and that might be something I do in the future because I don't need the little keyboard. It's okay, it's not brilliant. Anyway, take that off. Then obviously these have got to come off, so I have one of these bike spanners somewhere that might fit it. That will do it, I think. A second. So what size is it? That size? Yes, that seems to fit it. So I don't know if that's the right one, but an 11mm, it's probably 10mm, but 11mm is doing it, yeah. So is there one on there? If there is, I can't see it. So yeah, the 11mm is bringing it off, but you probably want a 10mm. You're not giving it a lot of stress, so that's not a big deal. Oh, there's a couple of screws on this microphone input as well, so they have to come off. Let's get that off there. There's a couple of yeah, these wheels also go on them occasionally. Sometimes it's the spring, sometimes it's more Again, you can put an external control. One of the things I programmed the BCR, what is it, BCR 200 is it? BCR 2000, and that could do a reasonable job of controlling the synthesizer externally. I also did a Miniak Tools, which was a DOS or Windows program back in the day, and that was quite handy for visualizing it. I found it really easier to visualize the whole flow. And then Namzai, I think his name is, did a really good controller panel for these things. So watch out. If I remember, I'll put some links in to tell you. And if I was any better, I'd have some nails that would allow me to pick this up. There we are. It's got a slight magnet on it, this thing, so that makes it easier. Let me get closer here. No, that just seems to be like a hole, and that's come off there. I know these little screws have got to come off, so will it fit that one? Okay, let's put those over there so I can see them. I'm very messy, but I've learnt a new trick, which is be slightly orderly. Makes life easier. I seem to remember getting this off was quite hard, and there was also some ribbons inside. So let's look underneath now. What have we got? I don't think these have to come off here yet, but we'll find out in a minute, because I think this lid lifts off, yeah. That to me is the keyboard. I think in here are two little sets of screws, and I seem to remember they don't do anything, but let's find out the hard way. I think these outside ones have got to come off, so let's just do that. I'll try and speed this up in the video when I edit it. Is this coming off now? Yes, it's coming off there. It's coming off there. I don't think there's any high voltage in here. On the Alyssa's iron there definitely is. Don't go licking that, yeah? Right. So I think let's turn it back this way. Alright, so this inner bit is stuck on with something else, yeah? The brains of it. So now I'm going to slide this underneath itself if I can. Right, now's the time to look under here. We've got various ribbons in the way. Again, very careful where you touch things. If you grab it like that, you might cut your hand, and you might also end up electrocuting yourself, but this should be alright. Ah, I see, there's like a little bit of plastic inside, and that needs to come off gradually. Let's get that out of the way. Get that out of the way as well. Right. There's a good chance to clean the key bed. Let me get this crap out of the way, sorry. Right, that's pretty filthy, that key bed. So just put a little bit of this on there. Oh, it's not coming off very well, is it? It's not coming out at all. Oh yeah, it is now. Let's put some contact cleaner on there, first of all. Keyboard doesn't need it, it's just dirty. Right, here's the cloth. Something I do wish manufacturers do is to make more rack mounted stuff these days, because back in the day that was the dream. You bought a decent expensive controller key bed, and then you put the rack mounts in, and of course triggered them remotely via MIDI. But that's not what the manufacturers seem to do. Now don't use that, because that one there is the glue. I recognise some of these boards from the Ion. Okay, so underneath here is where these are. There's this one here. So we're going to get these screws out here. And I'm going to take this ribbon cable out here, gently, for the display. There it is. It can go either way, so bear in mind the notch was on the side closest to me as we stand for this orientation of the board, and it looks like we've got to undo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6 screws. So let's do that now. And maybe it is the same size actually, it might just look smaller. There we are. Config store programs, this is the one that's pretty bad here. So let me see, get my head in the way, what's going on there. There's a lot of filth on the board. Let's just put a liberal amount of this on there. Now the spray action of this is gone, so it's not spraying, but it's still coating it, and that's the main thing. It's not that well, maybe the air cleans it a little bit, but it's really that that's doing it. So let's give that a little bit of a clean. Does this come off? Right, so there are some little plastic bits that you can push off from the other side, and then the button comes off. There we are. I just basically pushed the lugs in here, if you can see that, and that allowed that to come off. Worst case, it's a little momentary switch that you would have to yeah, I suppose I want to get the oxy into the actual switch itself, because that's what's getting dirty, not the plastic. Who cares about the plastic? That's doing its job, yeah. So let's just work that a few times. I don't know if it's the same principle, but on Dave's well, the fun stuff on guitars, he will put his deoxit onto the pots and then he'll work the pots. In fact, oftentimes you just work the pots and that's enough. So I'm hoping that a similar thing will happen here. So while I'm at it, let's do the others. And that goes like that. Yeah, so you just squeeze the little cheeks in either side. Just do it upside down, maybe you can see it. I just push that in and push that in, and then give it a little push from this side. Squeeze those in and give it a little push. Be gentle with it, yeah. Right. Bit more of this on the actual switch itself. Quite cheap, this stuff from your automobile place. Again, it's not WD-40, it's a proper electrical contact cleaner, yeah? Exercise those switches a bit. Now this is low voltage because the transformer does the 9 volts AC. I see people putting DC in. So we ought to be able to test it on the bench without having to worry about electrocuting yourselves, but your mileage may vary. If you're sensitive to shock, don't do this. Right, that's like that. Let's put those to one side up there for the second. Get the glasses back on, which was stupid because I took them off. Getting old is difficult, boys and girls. Right, so let's put this back like so for the second. Let's put that like so. Let's flip that over. Oop, was there an extra screw there that fell out? Good idea to get rid of that first. You don't want to ruin your components. Just make certain that's all dry in there. Because while I'm at it, I'll have a look at the caps. They all look pretty good actually. There's no obvious bulbing or whatever. I've been here in the past when I swapped the LCD over, and I must have put some wires over to show which is the top and which is the bottom. So that's that. Other than that, it looks good. So let's do it like that for the moment. In fact, let's do it like that, because then I can reach it. Let's power the thing on. Where's my power gone? Goes into there. Okay, we've got lights. I don't know, let's see if I move that so you can see it. So we've got the recent up there. So let's see what happens if I carefully push this button. Nothing. Oh yeah, wait a minute. That says multi. That says rhythm. So sequencer still needs a bit of work, yeah. He's not super happy. Multi's fine, yeah. Rhythm is fine. Program's not so good, yeah. Oh yeah, wait a minute, I think that's working now. It's changed colour. I think. Which one is it? That one. Yeah, that's working. Let's give us a little bit of a, whilst we're there, that's a sound thing. Rhythm, sequencer, there we are, it's working now. Multi, rhythm. So sequencer needs a little bit of work. But that's much better, yeah, just that little bit of contact cleaner is making that a little bit of difference. Multi, I think also it doesn't like being flexed. Multi, sequencer, rhythms are still a little bit, he needs a bit of extra work. Program's working, yeah, so that's much better. Let's just try program and that one. Let's try this down. Yeah, they're working much better now. So the problem is not the keyboard, it was the dust inside these things, yeah. Track. Okay. What I'll do, let's just try that one more time. Yeah, that's really nice now. That's working beautifully for the program. So the program is much better, yeah. And the red, I think that's red, means that things have changed, yeah. So it's just this sequences that's a bit dirty now. So what I'll do is I'll stop it off camera and I'll edit this down. I'll put some more gook in there and give it a chance to have a bit more of a working, and we'll see whether that fixes anything. But that's basically it. And refit is going to be the reverser removal, yeah. And then the synth is working much better again. And I'll take the time to clean this top down because it's filthy. So let me do that now. So one last tip, what I found with this little set of screwdrivers or pliers here, was I just needed to get into the actual button, hold it very gently, and then twist it left and right a bit like what you're doing with a potentiometer. Can't get it now. So I just twisted it left and right a little bit like this, very gently, and then worked it, and then it seemed to work that bit better. You see now it's more or less coming on, yeah. So that seemed to be it. It's like a bit of dirt was on there and it needed to come off, yeah. So let me put it back together again, edit this, and let you know how we get on. Okay, hang on. Okay, it was an optical illusion. All these little screws from here are the same size. So let's just move this back. I'm leaving it on whilst I'm doing all that power transformer gets hot. Not surprising. So let's put it back the other way. Let's start to screw it up. There shouldn't be any problem with it being on. So when you come to put this bit on, you need to put the keyboard underneath, and then there's these little black lines that hold the screws in, and they're a bit tricky. But before we do it up, yep, that's all working nicely. Up, down. I didn't do those, but they probably needed doing, but they're okay actually. Yeah, up, down, multi, sequences, rhythm, keys, programs, mod, programs M. Oh. Yep, it's on the wrong one, out. Programs filter, programs pre, post, output, onv, LFO, track, mod. So these are your shortcut keys. They really make life easier, or you can use an editor like I wrote, but those are what really make the difference. So now we've got to put what these little bits on here, the washers. Always very fiddly. 1, 2, 3, and you can use an XYZ to program XYZs, which is a bit non-intuitive, but you could use one of them to program the other one, sort of thing, to make it easier to move around. But the biggest drawback of these machines was the negative nerping, which is non-standard. At least the way they did it is non-standard. So I had to write all sorts of crafty things to get around it, and it was by no means trivial. And I did beg AKAI to bring out a keyboard controller that would allow it to work, you know, one of their little NPCs or something. I would have willingly bought one, but in the end I had to do my own. Right, so now we're going to get, yeah, there was no washer for that, or at least if there was, I lost it. If you have a washer on yours, let me know. Oops, getting the tighter one. Here's that one. Damn. Is that going anywhere? It is. Right, so now I'll finish it off with the pliers. I remember what I did with them. I've got a big pair up here. Don't over tighten these things because you can break the shaft. That's enough. So where it bites and a little bit more. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay. Now we said that the volume had a little line. It's that one. I put it to its minimum, and there it is. And that's max and min. Let's get back off that. It's all working nicely. Okay. Yep, that's working good. And then one of these I think was slightly different. So let's just try them out one by one. That feels pretty good, and might be it because it's got the most amount of dirt on it here. Yeah, that's it. So my one had a little mark on it because of the amount of dirt on it over the years, which, well, it does come off. I'll give it a wipe. Who knew? It's pretty disgusting actually. Get more of that on it. Give it a little wipe. Okay, so that one definitely seems to fit that one. It seems to be a tighter fit. Yep, that seems to be working. Let's put these on. Yeah. I got a Tori ST recently, and I think, and STE now, and I think I'll be trying to resurrect Cubase. I got Cubase on the other machines, and I got a fantastic Cubase-like thing on this Gem S3. And the Gem S3 works nice with this, because it's got the poly aftertouch. And when you go into the mods, if you push the program mods, what I've done, if you look on my Miniak, there we are. If you look on my Miniak tools web page, it says aftertouch goes to filter frequency. The reason I do that is most people don't have poly aftertouch on their keyboards, so setting it to something will almost make zero difference to you. It's not going to change the processing, not going to change the sound. But and I modified every single preset to have this feature, and it means therefore when you use Namzai's tool on my tools, then they will respond. Without this, we didn't find, or I never found a way of instructing the keyboard to add the mod on. Of course, with the buttons you can do it, but if you want to do it remotely you can't. And whilst I had it open, at one point I might consider trying to put this into a rack mount, like I've seen someone do. My friend pointed this out on YouTube. And probably what I do is try and put some control wires in so I can use more nerpins to send pulses down those and to simulate these buttons being pushed here, because it just makes it a lot easier. And I was able to reverse, well, programs they gave you for free, I could reverse engineer the rhythms and the sequences. The multi is a combination of these two plus programs, and because of the way it works, as you add stuff, it sort of shifts the contents along. So without the ability to program and close the loop and get my computers to solve it for me, it's not going to happen now. So anyway, that's that. It all seems to work quite nicely. thank you for watching, and if you have similar button problem, you see it's not a bad job. I don't know how long I've been doing it real time, let's say less than an hour. Yeah, need a bit of equipment. You need something to get the nuts off, you need a screwdriver, and you need some sort of electrical contact cleaner. Don't use WD-40 unless it's a specially formulated one. It will just put residue on and ruin your day. Yeah, so I'm gonna have some fun with this. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.